We are live on YouTube. So just in case you are logged out and you want to log back in, you are not getting in, you can go to our YouTube channel. You just need to type Top Tier Study Abroad Consult, and then you can get in. Again, thank you all for joining, and we truly appreciate it. So today, we're going to make it very conversational for everyone to understand what are some of the processes that you need to go through when you are applying to study abroad. Most people are not really conversant with what are some of the materials that I need when I'm applying to study abroad. You just graduated from, let's say, senior high school, you're waiting for your WASSCE results to come up. How many of you here just graduated from your WASSCE and waiting for your results to release next month? How many of you here graduated last September and waiting? Can show by hands. How many of you here graduated from the WASSCE, your high school program and waiting to start? How many of you here, if anyone here, fresh high school graduate, you can show by hand. Are there any fresh high school graduates here? Any fresh high school graduates here? Okay, so if there are no fresh high school graduates here, so one of the most important things you need to do, hold. So number one, you need a passport. How many of you here have passports? Or do okay, let me start. How many of you here do not have passport? If you don't have a passport, can you raise your hand? Or if you need assistance getting a passport, so we can guide you through the process online, how you can go online to the passport service office and fill out your form. Anyone here who do not have a passport but is thinking of studying abroad? How many people here? Okay. So, all right, I'm getting text messages. So the YouTube link, as I said, you go on YouTube and just judge, you type Top Tier Study Abroad Consult, it will pop up and it will let you know that we are live. I can see that I'm live here. So you can just go online on YouTube and just type Top Tier Study Abroad Consult, and then you can join us. So just to go ahead, there are certain documents that you need as a WASSCE graduate if you are looking out for scholarship. And then go to scholarships and then talk about what are some of the criteria or some of the category of visas, category of scholarships that are available. Number one, a lot of students are really interested in study abroad, but as soon as the WASSCE results are released, then they get to know that they do not have passports. That is number one problem. A lot of students, again, are interested in studying abroad, but they do not have passport. That is becoming a higher concern because some of the universities or all the universities will need your passport before they can grant you your admission letter. Or if you are going to Canada, it's called a letter of acceptance or LOA. If you do not have that document ready, they cannot, again, the universities, the colleges, they cannot process your letter of acceptance. So iPhone, if you need a passport, please. Mike Odro Apia will put our a link to our platform so you can join, and also our numbers, Kumasi Accra, Kumasi numbers, and then you can join. You can call any of our numbers, and then you can ask for Mina, or you can ask for me, and then we see how best we can help you to go through the process online, the government portal, where you can put in all your information and then a request for either an emergency or a regular passport or a fast track one. So number one, passport. Most students don't have passport. So we already talked about that. How many of you know that some of the universities would like you to write what we call an SOP, which is statement of purpose, or scholarship essays? So the graduate student stuff tends to write what we call the SOP, which is a short form. The long form is statement of purpose. Statement of purpose. Number two, what is statement of purpose, or what is the scholarship essay? What does the university want me to write about? So these are some of the things that you need to start thinking about. So some of the things that you can they tend to ask are, number one, they are looking for, okay, so I'm looking at studying abroad. The university, like, a lot of students are applying for scholarship, but why should we give the scholarship to this particular person? Why should we give the scholarship to Alhassa? Why should we give the scholarship to Khaled? Why should we give the scholarship to iPhone? Why should we give the scholarship to Odro? Why should we give it to Bertha, Jacob, Emmanuel, Stephanie, Yeboah, Joseph Oche, Agnes, Nashel? So your academic background is really important. Here at Top Tier, what we do is that we give you, we have videos, and we also teach you how to write about these letters or these essays, because you just don't throw anything out there that this is the essay that I'm writing for the scholarship piece. It is important that you know what you are going to study. So how many of you here know what you are going to study? You can put it in the chat box or raise your hand. What program do you want to study at the university or college? How many of you here have an idea? Okay, good. Asana. Asana, so what do you want to study? Abdullah, what do you want to study? You can put it in the chat box. Anyone else? You can raise your hands and put your answer in the chat box. What do you want to study? What programs do you want to study? Computer science. Kelvin Boache, okay, computer science, good. Who else? Information technology, good. Anyone else? Let's go. Boom, 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 boom. Let's go. Accounting, nursing, fantastic. So let's say you want to go in for nursing, computer science, accounting. What are some of the things that you need to write in your scholarship essays? What we do here at Top Tier is that we will review the essays and make sure that these essays can get scholarships before we put it forward. So number one, in terms of the essays, your program of study. You are going to study computer science. What kind of computer science? Under computer science, there is data analytics or data science, there is cybersecurity, there is machine learning, artificial intelligence, there is programming. There is so many subset under the computer science domain. So you need to pick one. So let's pick data science or data analytics, for example. Why I want to pursue computer science with a major or concentration or a focus on data science or data analytics. You talk about some of the challenges that you've encountered within your community, or some of the challenges that companies are facing. You read why to understand what is the current issues now that businesses, companies are focused on. Why do they need data analysts? Why do you need that degree? And how would it be beneficial within your community? And then you write about it. Some of there are certain things, pieces that we will add to it when we are working with you. You will guide you, but this is just one example that you put in your scholarship essays. Number two, you want to pursue nursing, medical assistant, good. Yeah. Engineering, Gabriel, nice. Sweetie, finance, good. So if you want to pursue, let's say, nursing, why nursing? Why do you want to study nursing at this particular university? So let's say you want to pursue nursing at Columbia University, at Harvard University. I'm using these as an example. Why do you want to study there, and why this particular university? The onus lies on you as the student to make sure that you are getting all the necessary information ASAP. As soon as possible, you get this information, you put everything in the essays, and you're ready to send it out. Number one. Some of the universities would also want you to provide um, extracurricular activities. So after graduating from high school, what have you been doing? Can you type what some of you have been doing? Are you currently contributing by joining, let's say, SOS within your community? Are you joining any group in your community? What have you been doing since you graduated from high school? Can anyone give me an example? What have you been doing since you graduated? Because they want to know apart from the academics, what other thing have you been doing? What sets you apart from all the students who just graduated from high school? Good. Gabriel said he's been teaching. It's also good that you have a CV. Not all the universities want it. Some universities will say they want your resume or they want a CV. So working, okay, Stephen, good. Anyone else? Everything that you've been doing, even if it's just one job, if you are volunteering, if you are working at a community center, anything that you are doing, even if it's church, you are part of the brigade. You play drums at church. You are doing A. You are doing B. It is very important to make sure you document all of that in your essay. That I'm also doing on your CV too. It is there. Sometimes take pictures. So, for example, those of you working at an agrochemical industry, take pictures, helping a certain woman in her research work. Okay, drought tolerance in okra. Good. You can also include that in your essays. Just let them know you're an athlete. Good. So all of these things are really important when you are writing your essays. You put all of these things down, and also in your CV, you documented that these are some of the key things that you are doing after school. For example, someone like Gabriel can be a student teacher. Someone like Kevin, who is helping someone, a woman with research, can work with a faculty member to work on a research project. Why? Because the faculty member is reading the essay, they've identified your strength, which is research, and then they'll pair you with a researcher or a faculty member who is maybe doing something similar. Or when you get to the school, you can approach the faculty members and talk to them about your interests. These are some of the things that I've done. If you have if the research has been published, you can put it out. If you even have the proposal, you can put it out and show the faculty member. These are very important things you need to be doing. Okay. Now let's move forward to the uh, the next point. A lot of students come to me and they're like, "Hey, Dr. Boache, I want to do this. I want to do that. These are some of the things that I want to do. I want to study petrochemical engineering." And when you ask them after school, what are you going to do with this degree? They'll be looking at you. After school or after graduation from this program, what do you think you are going to do? Most of them don't even know what they want to do because they've heard that their colleagues are going into this program. They also want to go into the same program. But they do not have, for example, an idea that this is what I want to do. For example, I want to be in, let's say, computer science because I'm someone who likes to do programming, or currently I've even started coding. So maybe programming will be a best fit for me because I would like to use the skill to maybe I need to build apps. I want to be a web developer so I can set up my own company and do A, B, C, D. These are very critical things that you need to be doing. I'm looking for a document here so we can all go through. These are really important things that we all need to have or think about even before we reach out that we want to do A or B. What do you want to use this degree for? You don't want to be stuck in a program that at the end of the day, you want to get out. A program that at the end of the day is not going to bring anything to you. A program that you don't feel like is going to be a best fit for you. A program that at the end of the day, you don't think it will take you anywhere. But at the end of the day, you don't have love even doing it. Or have you shared with someone who has gone through the journey and know that, okay, maybe this program will not be a best fit for you, but have you also looked at something different? Again, maybe you want to do nursing or you want to be a nurse, but you are scared of blood. You can't stand blood. You throw up when you see blood. But that is something that you want to do. But have you considered that after graduation, what are some of the key things you're going to be doing? Are you going to be in the administrative position? Are you going to practice as a nurse? But have you also forgotten that throughout the process, you will be at the hospital, you'll be doing your clinicals, and you'll be faced with some of these challenges? Have you even thought about that? Have you thought about that? So it's not about just picking your stuff up and just going out that this is the program that I want to study. But have you also thought about what you want to do with this degree? And do I think that this degree will be beneficial to me? Very important. How many of you here are athletes, apart from Nashel? How many of you here play soccer or football? How many of you here run? How many of you here are swimmers? How many of you do 100 meters, 200 meters? Now we are moving to the scholarship piece. How many? Any athletes here? Any soccer players, swimmers, 4 by 400, 200 meters, 100? Okay. So when it comes to being an athlete, or when it comes to scholarships, scholarship is not only about books. It's not only about your academics. A university can give you a scholarship not only because you are a very intelligent student. No, there are several things that a university is based on before they can give you scholarship. There are certain things that you need to consider when you are putting in the application. And that is some of the key things that we do talk to. 1 minute, my son is working. Yeah, that he's working. Okay. There are certain things that the universities consider when they are looking to give out scholarships. As I said, it is not only about your academic performance. Okay, it's not only about your academic performance. So I'm gonna share my screen and then we will go through. So please pardon me or bear with me whilst I share my screen so that we can go through them. And if you can, please give me a thumbs up. Can you see my screen? Can you guys see my screen now?
Yes, please.
Good. Okay, hold on. So we've already talked about a major piece of the application. So now let's go to some of the other requirements that are needed for you in terms of getting the scholarships. Okay, so as I said, there are different things that they look out for when they are giving scholarships. So again, if let's say you're an athlete, you are very good with what you do, always make sure that you have videos to prove. Always make sure that you have videos as your own evidence. So we'll come back to all these. We've already passed the CVs and all that, but we'll come back to them. Some of them, we'll come back to this when you are done with the scholarship piece. So, for example, you can run. You can run 100 meters. But how are you going to prove to the university that, let's say, Madame Agnes or Abdullah is a fast runner? He can do 100 meters. If you don't get someone like myself that maybe can vouch for you, even with that, they need to see a certain evidence that this student is a good 100 meters runner, a good 200 meters runner. This student can produce, let's say, a very good time, can throw javelin, the shot put, and all that. We need to show evidence to the universities, to the coaches, that this student is a very good basketball player, a soccer player. So let's say defender. What are some of his interceptions, his cross headers? Has he scored a goal before? we need all these statistics to show the coaches. If you have a video or a soccer CV, you have all these pieces of videos, matches that you play, you put everything together, and then we can submit for scholarship. There is one student here whose tuition fee is 15,000, but had a 10,000 scholarship because he's an athlete. So these are key things that the universities are looking for. Number two, how many of you know how to play instruments or sing? Are there any singers here? Any singers? Someone that can play any form of instrument? Anyone? Okay, good. I see a thumbs up. Okay, good. So if DK, if you can do this, if you are singing, if you can sing, you can record yourself. If you can play any musical instrument, you can also record yourself so that the visa officer will know, sorry, the admission officer will know that this student can do A, B, C, D. So when they are giving a scholarship to you, they've assessed, the music department has assessed. It doesn't necessarily mean you are going to pursue music. No, you can be a pre-med student, pre-pharmacy student, and pre-nursing student, a geography student, a math student, an education student, an engineering student, but you still have that skill. All because you have that skill, you can play A, B, C, D instrument. When they are considering additional scholarships, they can get you additional scholarships. Okay, so you need to prepare for that. What kind of scholarships can I qualify for? I'm looking at my strength. Right now, we've talked about sports or athletic scholarship. Now we are talking about music and dance, or if you have any skill like playing any musical instrument, that can also give you some form of scholarship. Let's move on to the third one, academics. So I know some of you, the students who are currently on this Zoom, that are a really good SAT score from 1,300, 1,200, 1,500, I mean 1,500, 1,520, 1,450. Really good scores that are looking to study at different universities, but the onus lies on these students to first show that they have a strong SAT score. But now some of the universities like Harvard and Co, there is something called test optional. Test optional. So some of the universities now are not dwelling their scholarship only on SAT and then your WASSCE results or your HND results or your diploma and WAEC result. They are looking at different areas of on how they can provide the scholarships for you. Again, they are looking at different areas in terms of how they can provide scholarships for you. So, for example, you are a student who has your WASSCE results are in, you got, let's say, 4 A's, 4 B's, very good score. You come to us at top tier, we will see how best we can get you scholarships without the SAT score. Again, without the SAT, we don't have the SAT test score. We have schools that are also test optional, and then we will look at what do you need to add to your SAT, your WASSCE result, so that you can get more scholarship. There is one of our students here. We applied for a school. One of the schools gave her 40% scholarship. We sent her grades to another school, and the other school gave her 81% scholarship. Also, there was a Yasantua student that we were working with. One school gave her 75% scholarship. The other school gave her 100% scholarship, but she chose to go to the university that offered her 75% scholarship. Why? Because that is where, after looking at both universities, she thought it wise that this is where I feel like I need to be so that I can study and achieve academic success. So it's based on you to call the shot and see what do you really want. Where do you really see yourself within the next 3, 4, 5 years? Do you think you can stay at this university? Do you think you would like this university? We will talk about how do you even select universities as well. So now we've talked about all the 3 types of scholarship. 1, sports scholarship. 2, music scholarship. 3, academic scholarship. Okay. Also, in terms of academic scholarship, there are some students who know how to write poetry. There are students who can also rap. These are all criteria that can get you some form of scholarship. So we talked about academic and all other scholarships. There are other avenues as well, but today, because of time, we're gonna make it not too lengthy. We're not gonna make it lengthy so that we can also, I can get questions and answers as well. So let's move on to the next topic. So next, we will look at, we've already shown you the CV. So let's move on to the next. So some of the schools, especially those of you who are looking at Q&A, some of the students who are looking at, let's say, we use certain universities require that the student should bring either a recommendation letter or a testimonial to talk about the student. Okay, I'll answer questions. So if you have questions, you can start putting them in our chat box so that we can answer them. You can put your questions in our chat box so we can answer them for you. So some of the universities will say, okay, Mr. Abdullah or Mr. Paul Abdullah or Pastor Paul Abdullah, we want you to provide us with a letter of recommendation from one of your teachers. It can be, let's say, or your principal, or here we call it principal. Some of the universities will say your headmaster in the European schools. We want them to provide us with a recommendation letter to know if you are a good student that can succeed academically at any university in Canada, Europe, US, Africa, or wherever you find yourself going to. They would like to request for recommendation letters. So when you are being asked to provide a recommendation letter, you just don't go to any teacher. Again, you just don't go to any teacher that, oh, I want teacher A or teacher B because teacher A likes me, so I'm going to teacher A, so teacher A can write a letter of recommendation for me. No. These are certain criteria that you need to ask. At least the teacher, if you're a current student or you just graduate, go to a teacher who knows you, a teacher who can say that I taught, let's say, Kelvin Boache, or I taught Bertha, I taught Emmanuel, I taught DK, I taught Emanuela, I taught Gabriel, George here, Monash. I taught Monash math, and Monash was good in math. Monash was part of our debaters team. Any teacher first who knows your intellectual capability, can speak of your intellectual potential, can speak to the time working with you. If it's your laboratory teacher, that biology laboratory teacher that you worked with in the lab, if it is your geography teacher that taught you chain survey, if it's your home economics teacher that taught you how to sew, how to design, how to sew, cut cloth, anything, someone that has worked with you and understand what you can do. Those are the people, because you don't want a teacher who write 2-3 things about you and then post. You want someone that can go into detail and speak so well about you. What are you bringing on board? The faculty members of the universities are not just welcoming any students to the US classroom, to the Canadian classroom, to the UK classroom, to the German classroom, or to any European classroom, but they are looking out for what potential is this person bringing into the classroom. What sets you apart from all the students that are coming to the university? What are you bringing into the classroom that will set you apart from everyone? So that is why it's ideal that you look out for faculty members or teachers who knows your intellectual capability, someone that you've worked with, someone that knows you. Maybe you went to this JHS, right from JHS secondary school or high school, the faculty member or the teacher knows you very well. Go to those people that knows you and that can talk very well about you. Those are the people that you go to so that they can talk well about you, and that will increase your chances of getting more scholarship or getting a very good scholarship. Okay. Now let's move on. Let me admit those who are joining so they can join. So again, some schools require additional materials. So some of the universities will say, for example, if you schooled in Ghana, go to your high school and get a letter that says that all the classes for your WASSCE were taught in English. Some of the universities do not want that. As soon as they see that English, you had a minimum of C6. That's all that they need. You've demonstrated that you can succeed academically. Okay. And that is point two. If you receive a degree or if you receive English proficiency requirement will be waived for students whose mode of instruction, teaching, and learning well conducted in English. You get that waived for you. Some of your universities will say, we don't want, apart from your WASSCE results, we also want like scratch cards. Good. So when we put in the applications for you, we also make sure that we put in um, we submit the wire scratch card for you so that the universities can just go in, scratch, check your grades, and then and look out for if you be admitted or not. Some of them also want your transcript, what normally we call the terminal report from first year to your third year. They want a total transcript for you so that they could see your trajectory. I mean, your educational journey. How have you been performing? They don't want to solely base everything on your WASSCE result because you might have been good, but something can happen during your WASSCE, happen with your WASSCE result or when you were taking your WASSCE result and you got sick, blah, blah, blah. And then because of that, you could not perform very well. So they make sure that that could be looked at so that they look at your whole application holistically and not based on the admission and scholarship just solely on one document, that is your WASSCE. So that is something that they look out for. Okay. All right. So again, please, if you have any questions, any concerns, please put them here. I see some of the questions coming. Okay, I see them coming. I will answer all of them. Very good question, Stephanie. I'll come to your question. Very good one. So I think with the funding, I already explained the funding process. So the funding, so now we move on to, okay, you've gotten all the scholarship that you need, everything. Let me go back before I go to the interview process. So this is how most of the Northern American universities, they want the CV to be. Your name here, your address, your phone number, because some of the universities, they would like to call you. Some of our clients have been called for interviews before the scholarships were awarded. They looked at their technical skills, their professional experience, leadership skills. So some of you who were debaters, had in the debating team, SRC president, school prefect, boys prefect, your leadership and campus involvement. So if there are any leadership skills that you have, campus involvement, you detail them. If there are any employment that you took, you also detail all of them here. The year, and if you are currently working there, the city and the state. So Kumasi, Ashanti region, Accra, Greater Accra, Takrade, Western region, and all that. So you detail all of them on the resume. Now let's move on. So I already talked about the CV. So there are questions that someone was asking about personal statement or letter of statement of purpose. One of the mistakes that most Ghanaians make or most Africans make is that when they are writing an essay, they start with this. As a young African or growing up in a poor home, growing up in a poor community, my friend, you are not the only poor person in this world. what sets you apart? You are trying to sell yourself. You're not trying to sell poverty. But what are you trying to make sell that will stick with everyone and make you so unique for the faculty members to see that if you are bringing Stephanie in, if you are bringing Odro Apia in, if you are bringing Pastor Abdullah in, if you are bringing DK in, if you are bringing Emmanuel in, what sets them apart? What sets Kelvin Boache apart from uh, Nana Boache? What set these two people apart? So that is where you demonstrate your research skills. If you have worked on a research before, you talk about it. If you have want to talk about your leadership, you talk about it. What specific classes did you take? Let's say you're going to do math. You talk about your calculus skills. You talk about your algebra skills. Clearly show that how the curriculum, the faculty, and educational objectives of the school, how does it align with yours? If you've written to any of the faculty members before, you can state that in the SOP. So these are critical things that we consider here at Top Tier, that at the end of the day, the students are producing a very genuine application, holistic document, so that they can get scholarship. One thing that I forgot to add, or I said there are different criteria or criterion or different ways that you can get scholarship. One of the key things that I forgot to mention is if you can draw, painting, artwork. We would like to get your portfolio. Right now, you don't need to bring a book. You can scan all the works that you've done. If it's pictures, neatly scanned pictures, then we can upload all these documents as part of your application materials. So you need to, most of the universities, one, you need a strong GPA. So mostly, if we can get students, the minimum scholarship we get students is 40%, but we can get students scholarship that are more than 40%. But that requires the students to have a good GPA. If you want full scholarship, we are looking at students with the a very good SAT score. Some of the universities say, although you were educated in Ghana, we still want an English proficiency test, which is the TOEFL, IELTS, PTE, PSN test exam. Then your transcript, the transcript from your high school. Some of the universities say they don't want any transcript; they just want your WASSCE. Some of them still want your personal statement or what we call a scholarship essay. Sometimes some universities just want a scholarship essay. Some of them want the letter of statement of purpose or the personal statement, and also the scholarship letter, your resume or your CV, and then your letters of recommendation. And then if you have any material that wants to be considered, there was this girl from Kumasi Girls that we got a scholarship and free accommodation for a year. One of the key things she added to her application was some of the documents she's done or some of her works that she's done in relation to coding and data analytics. She presented us with all this information. We added it to our application. We sent it, and then we reviewed. I reviewed actually. So when I look at your grades, and I think you can get full scholarship. We didn't talk to yet. There are certain. All of our guys are really good in terms of the application, but some of us have mastered just the scholarship piece, like getting undergrads for full scholarship. So if you can get full scholarship, we know how to go about it and then work on that for you. Jacob Bonnie, who is currently on this platform, has helped some of the students go to the US on full scholarship, which comes with full rent for 2 years to finish their masters. So it is imperative for you to know that we are here genuinely to take you through the process and guide you through the process. Okay. Okay. So now you've been able to get your admission. The next stage is preparing for the visa interview. It is one of the most critical aspects of the process. Again, now getting an interview date in Ghana is very difficult, but we also help students in terms of preparing for the visa interview. What are the key things they need to do? What video do they need to watch from ex-visa officers who can help explain certain things to them? So we work hand on hand with that and make sure that the student is going for the visa interview very well prepared. Accommodation. So some of the universities provide accommodation for students, and those of you who are going to rural areas, your rent can be as cheap as 200, goes as low as $200, $250 a month, $350 a month per person, and you might have to share a room with someone. And then with this food and stores and other things, we can talk about them later. And then how you prepare for the interview. This is how people prepare for interview. But this will be a webinar for next week. Next week, Sunday, we will go through the visa, preparing for visa interview. And then we will talk about the visa interview process. So now we will stop here and then take questions. But first, I will start from the questions that were sent. I'll go with, I think Pastor Abdullah sent the first question. Yes. All right, let me make sure that we have posted our link in here. So just in case someone wants to join our WhatsApp platform, they can just click on the link and then join. So please hold on while we go through the process. So let me first start with Pastor. So okay. So Pastor Paul said, how does one word limit and page limit given by a university affect the application? Very good question. So as here in the US, if you are teaching at a university, most of the students call the lecturers professor. So let me say as a lecturer or someone who teaches at the university here in the US, if I give you an assignment and I say I want 33 pages, 5 pages, my professor, he said she wants cupcakes, not cake. If she says she wants this, you give her that. When she eats to this and she's full, she cannot consume the whole cake. She will just eat a cupcake out of the cake. So, Pastor, Mr. Abdullah, what happens is that some of the universities will just read the first page, and then if you wrote 2 pages, 3 pages, that's it, they are done. If you get, because there are applications over, give and take, there are about 1,000 applications, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 applications, and they are looking at all these applications. Then what time would they have to go to yours and read 3 pages? Some of them, it's word limits, 500 words. Simple. Most universities, 500 words for undergrads, 500. Some of them will say even 250 for undergrads. I've seen 200, 250, 300. Majority is 500 words. Okay. So, good question. Since normally you are required to upload documents and limited slot, how do you send a video through as a proof? So this is what you need to do. Personally, when I helping students out, and I've also worked in admissions before. I worked with the State University of New York at Binghamton University. What I did, what other universities, not Binghamton, but what other universities, what I saw or what I've done for students is that, let's say a student has a video, but the video is so large, a large document. It's either you compress the document or you put the document on YouTube. You just have to add the link. Okay, you just have to add the link. It makes it very easy. You don't need to upload the video. The the officer, the admissions officer, or the professor who is at the department reviewing all these documents just need a link to the video. They click on the video, they watch. So that really helps you not to upload any large video that cannot be uploaded. You just have to click on it and then you're good to go. Excuse me. Please, can testimonial be used in place of letter of recommendation? No, it cannot. But this is what I have Some of the universities, if you tell them that, oh, I'm having a challenge maybe getting these documents, some of them, hey, they might take it. But most of the time, it's like it's no. That's why I encourage students that whilst you are in school, build a very good relationship with your lecturers or your teachers, so that uh, um, when it's time for you to go for your go for a letter from them, they would be ready to give it to you. Okay. Who else? Any other questions? All right, so let me scroll down. Please, when you're applying for scholarship with academics, what is the cutoff point that can qualify you to get scholarship? Again, very good question. So, Stephanie, some of the universities, depending when I ask you, what do you want to study? A very good point. One of the universities that I was sending a student to, the university wanted to give the student a 90% scholarship, but it said the student had a C6 in English. One of the students also had C6. Uh, the student was it home economics? Yeah, the student was doing one of the papers in home economics. The student had C6, so they couldn't give the student all the scholarship because the student had the minimum they could take. It's a B2 or B3. Some of the universities, if you have any grade below C6, that becomes an issue. But other universities, if you had AAA and one of them you had B7, your B2 can go complement your C6 or your D7, and then you could be good. Others, but make sure that you are always limiting yourself to C6. But if you want more scholarship, please, the A's are good. Also, most universities, this goes to most universities, when you have your entire grade, they will scrutinize it all. They will convert it into a GPA, which is grade point average. So they will strike an average with your grades. And then if you have with your grade, if you have a very good score, then they will say, okay, you had a 3.0 GPA, then you can get a scholarship. 3.0 GPA. So that is how most of them work. If you have a 3.0 GPA, that is when you get the scholarship digit. But when you get in, you need to attain a GPA of 2.5 to get a scholarship every year. You are required to have a GPA of 3.0, 2.5 to get a scholarship every year. Okay. All right. Let me go ahead and read half. But please, you can also unmute yourself and ask your questions. Please, if you want to ask questions, please unmute yourself and then you can also ask questions. Okay. Emanuela Lagite, please, can you study fashion and textile as a course? Yes. Some of the universities provide that option that you can study fashion. But mind you, some of the fashion schools, they are their tuition fees are a bit pricier or a bit expensive based on the fact that they are what do you call it? When you graduate, you'll be making a lot of money. So some of them too, the tuition fees expensive. But here at Top Tier, what we do is that we look at all other avenues to see how we can get you a school with a very affordable price. A school with an affordable price. Yeah. Okay. Please, if you want to ask a question, please unmute yourself and ask your question now so that I can move on to the next question. If you want to ask a question, raise your hand. I'll call you and then you can ask your question. Okay. Let me go to the next question. with the scholarships, let's say you have an interest in something, but then you don't know how to do it or you haven't done it before and you want to start doing it when you enroll. How do you state it? And Abdullah Asana, if you can unmute yourself and ask your question, that would really help so I can explain it to you. But let me go ahead and answer your first question, which is early decision and early action. Most of the time, they use this interchangeably. Early decision and early action is that maybe the deadline for application to start for 2024, August 2024, is March 15th or March 1st. March 15th or March 1st. That is the scholarship and application deadline. Please, if you want to join our WhatsApp platform, I've put a link to our WhatsApp platform in the chat. Just click on it and then join. If you want to, let's say, apply early, applying early is really important. So early action and early decision, when you put in the application early, the universities tend to have first come, first served basis for the scholarship. Some of them to wait and collect everything and then make a decision from, let's say, March 15th. From April 15th, they will start, admissions will be released. Some of them is on rolling basis. So as soon as they get their application material, then they start making decisions quickly. Okay, as soon as they start receiving the application, they can start. So if you want an early decision or an early action, you apply early. Again, if you want an early decision or early action to be taken on your application, you apply early and then you get your decision and then you get your scholarship and know that you've gotten everything early and now you just need to wait and then take things one at a time and then prepare for your visa interview. Okay, let me. Asana, if you can unmute yourself and ask your question, that would be good. Please, can you get a full scholarship with just your SAT score? If you have an SAT score, but you do not have you have an SAT score, you need your WASSCE. What shows that you've graduated from high school? So you will need both your SAT and then you would also need your WASSCE results. You cannot apply with just SAT. You need your WASSCE as well. Any other questions? Good question, Rita Yaya. Rita, good question. How early is the early? Good question. Let's see. So how early is early? So let's say November 1, most of the universities, some of them, not most of them, so those who are looking for PhDs and masters for next year, August. January 1 was deadline for some of the application portals which were open throughout January 1st or maybe, January 1st, they closed on November 1. So early decision has been closed November 1. They'll wait for maybe December 1st, early decision 2. So how early depends on the university. They've set, some of them have 3 or 4 different deadlines. So priority deadline or early decision deadline, and then regular will be, let's say, the last. So mostly with the regular admissions, they will tell you scholarships are not guaranteed. Again, most of the ones, they will tell you scholarships are not guaranteed. So with those ones, you cannot say that, for example, I want a full scholarship. If you want full scholarship, why did you not apply early? So that becomes the issue. It is very important for you to put in the application at a very early stage. Okay, the questions are still coming. And All right, I'm trying to read the questions and then so some of the one student also asked if I'm undecided based on the program that I want to study, how do I go about it? Very good question. Very good question. So yes, you can be undecided. Let's say you want to study, let's say, mechanical engineering, but you're also looking at civil engineering. You are also looking at nursing. You don't want, you don't need to make a rash decision. The only thing is that when you are going for the visa interview, you cannot tell the visa officer that you are undecided. Again, you cannot tell the visa officer that you are undecided. You don't know what you want to study, but you just want to go. Mostly the American, the Canadian, and European students take the undecided box so that when they get to Europe, the US, Canada, any where Asia, they can go in with undecided. But with those going for visa interviews, those subject your hold on, I'm getting feedback from engineering, but guys, I was getting feedback from the YouTube page. So yes, you can also do that in the sense that you would take this is the trick. Just choose, let's say, electrical engineering. Prepare for the visa interview to do electrical engineering. But when you get to the US, you can still change to undecided. You can see most of the universities, I'm not saying all the universities, most of the universities will agree to the fact that agree to the fact that you can go for being undecided. And also those watching on YouTube, I'm posting the WhatsApp link, and then I'll read your questions. So George or anybody in team, I know those watching on YouTube, I'm going to answer your questions. So if you see me watching here or looking at this site, I have another computer here, so I'm just gonna be looking at it here. So good. So my question is the scholarship only applies to WASSCE candidate? Do you have anything for these candidates? Okay. So if you are going to pursue, let's say, high school in the US, that is also different. That is when you use your JHS transcript with your BEC result. That is a different application process altogether. And that is when you can use your BEC certificate. We can use that to look for you that can provide scholarships for you. So if you're an undergraduate student here at Top Tier, we have partnership with several universities. So some of our universities, uh, if you are submitting your application, some of them gives us slots for scholarships. There are students that can attest to the fact that we are able to give them scholarship even after they've even picked their visas up. We're still able to get them scholarship. But Felicia, if I get you right, an undergraduate student, if you want scholarship, you always apply as soon as your WASSCE results are released. Also, we are now in a very good time space to apply because most of the universities, there are some of the regular decisions are made June 1st. But with Top Tier, since we have partnership with 33 universities, and now we have more to add to it, there is an avenue for us to push and also get more scholarships for you. So, but in the essence of applying early, as soon as your WASSCE results come out, we need to jump on it. Also, as soon as you have all your documents, just talk to us because most of the time from this space, from now to March 1st, you need to put in the application if you want scholarships. Early decision. By March 1st, June 1st, June 1st is even hard to even get admission for the August intake. But again, we try our best to help students get admission and scholarships as well. Any other questions? So someone is asking if I want to study medicine, wow, how do I go about it? Good question. So it depends on the country. Some countries like you can go directly into the medicine program. Some of the universities, especially those who are interested in Canada and US, that is not how it works. Although in Europe, you can go directly into medical school, with US, you cannot do that. So with the US, this is how it works, okay? And Canada, you do what we call pre-medicine. Again, you do what we call pre-medicine. So with the pre-medicine, you will take courses such as biology or biological science, biochemistry. You can even do software engineering and still go to medical school. Mine, the pediatrician for my kids, she's she's a doctor, medical doctor. She did engineering and then went to medical school. So you need a bachelor's degree first before you can go to medical school here in the US. You need it. If you go to Europe, if you have the good grades, you have your money, you can go directly into it and then get to medical school. But those of you interested in coming to Canada, US, mostly Canada, US, you have to go through the mail or the pipeline. Some of you are sending me text messages on my phone. I would prefer that if all the messages could come directly here. And Erica, thanks for letting me know. Yes, the portfolio is very important. The art students, portfolio for your scholarships. If you have very great art designs, there are students who know how to take pictures. You have taken very breathtaking pictures. You can share you can build your portfolio and you can submit it. If you go take any picture from online, they will see it because they will put it through a portal which will pull all the sources where pictures came from. If you plagiarize, they will cancel your application. Even when you get on campus and they get to know that you submitted pictures which were not for you, your scholarship will be taken from you. If care is not taken, they will tell you to leave the university. Okay. Who else? Who else? Okay. Which university do you think have best program for biomedical engineering? Okay. So if you are working with us, that is when we can if you're working with us, there are several universities across the world that we work with, from US, Turkey, Lithuania, Canada, the UK, where else? A lot of them all over the world, Poland, so many universities, Germany. They all have good programs, but if you want certain type of scholarship based on the grades that you have, we can send you to this university for biomedical science or biomedical engineering. But we only share those information when we are working together. Anyone else? Anyone else? And also, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We want the numbers to grow. You hit, you like, you share our videos, and also you subscribe. Very, very important. Please subscribe. And thanks to all those who are currently watching our YouTube video. Okay. Any questions? You have 3 minutes to go. 3 minutes to go. Please, you can unmute yourself and ask your question. Don't be shy. You can unmute yourself. And if you're a top tier employee, please, if you have anything to add to all that I'm saying, if there is something that I missed, whether Bonnie, Derek, Erica, please unmute yourself and ask your question. Any questions, any concerns, anything that you would like to ask? Shoot, there are people now joining. Yeah,
Hello,
almost.
Doc.
Yeah, go ahead, Mr.
Good
Bonnie.
evening, Doc.
Good evening, sir.
You didn't talk about the SAT class.
Oh, that's yes. Good. Thanks for reminding me. So those of you, wherever you are in Ghana or wherever you are in the world, we have an SAT class. We have the online and then in person. So the online SAT class, you can join from anywhere. Those of you who are in Kumasi can also join from our Makum office. We have the class, we have projectors, We have everything that we can do to help you in terms of getting a very good SAT score. And after that, we will still work with you to help you get a university to study abroad. We take you through the pipeline and make sure you are here. Students who took our SAT class, some of them, one is in Hungary right now on a full scholarship studying civil engineering, transportation engineering to be specific. One is in a nursing program in the US, in Minnesota. There's another one also in Minnesota. There's another one all over. There's another one in Utah. No, there are two in Utah at the moment. So anywhere you want to take our classes, please feel free. We have our number in the chat box. You can also join any of our platforms. We've put a link to our WhatsApp platform up. Please join, and then we will provide you with updates, and then we can take it right from there. But we truly appreciate you guys. If you have your question, if you have any questions, concerns, please unmute yourself right now. Ask your question, and then we can take it. We can let you know.
Sir.
Yeah, go ahead. Good evening.
Thank you for the opportunity. Okay, what I want to ask about scholarship in UK. I want to hear about scholarship in UK.
Did you say scholarships in the UK?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so there are universities, yes, in the UK that provide scholarship. But with the UK, there are certain things that you need to do. Number one is that you need to provide opportunities. You need to provide avenues where you reserve money when it's time for you to pay your tuition deposit. You should be ready to put your tuition deposit in. Also, it is very imperative for you to make sure that you have good grades, because some of the scholarships, they have regional scholarships. Let's say you are from Africa, they have scholarship specifically dedicated for African students. So we can also apply to those scholarships for you. Yes, the UK do have scholarship, but it depends on which university. But the UK don't have more scholarship as compared to the US. Any other questions?
Okay. What I want to ask about the price for the SAT class.
Come again? Come again?
Okay. I want to know whether the SAT class is free. And if it's not free, so how much are we going to pay?
Okay, so please pick our number in the chat box. Call the Kumasi office, and then they will provide you with all the necessary information that you need concerning the SAT. Okay. All right. So when will be a webinar for graduate students? So we will be having a webinar for graduate students this week. There are two, and this goes to everyone. This week we have a webinar for study in Canada, and also a webinar, two webinars. They are all geared towards those who want to study in Canada. So we would have this webinar this coming week. I'll share the information at the end of the day. Yeah. So yes, my brother, yes, we would have the study. We have one for graduate students coming very soon. Any other questions or concerns before we go off? All right. Thank you all for joining. I truly appreciate each and everyone for coming. And sorry that I didn't put in the notice out very soon. I did it last night, very late last night. I should have done it very early in the week, but I hope to do better. So next week, we're going to meet and talk about the visa application process for undergraduate students, visa and scholarship process. And we will bring students who interviewed in Ghana, students who interview in Zambia and other countries for their visa, South Africa, so that they can share their visa experiences with you. We thank you all for joining, and we appreciate you. Have a nice Sunday. Bye for now. Thank you all.